Okay, we're moving into summer. You can't tell by this because it's raining, but I'm in the Pacific Northwest, so it rains here all year round anyway. So nonetheless, for most of you, you are heading into sunny weather, and that means that there's going to be some summer trends, some hair trends. And I'm going to share today with you my favorite trends. But more importantly, I'm going to share my favorite trends and maybe some things that you need to think about before you decide to dive all in on them. How does that sound? All right, well, with that said, let's go get rained on. Oh, and by the way, if you're new to me, thanks for hanging out. My name is Justin Hickox. I've been doing hair since 1995, so hashtag I'm old. And yeah, so on this channel, I share hair tips. I usually say I teach you about hair while I take you on adventures. And also, huge shout out to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. There'll be more on that later. So for now, let's dive into some trends. Okay, the first big trend that I love for this summer is curtain bangs. Now, curtain bangs have been around for a while. They're not brand new, but they're also probably not going anywhere. If you're unfamiliar with what they are, it's basically a scenario where you part your hair down the center and you cut longer bangs. So think something that breaks about at your cheekbone structure. And then those bangs aren't straight across, they're a little bit more angular, they kind of blend in, and really it's kind of a throwback to the old Farrah Fawcett look. I really like these for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you have never had bangs in the past, or maybe you've got more one-length hair, and you're just trying to do something different, but you're not quite sure you want to really step into bangs, well, this is a great opportunity for you because they're light bangs, but they don't marry you to having a strong bang across your forehead that can become a nightmare to grow out if for some reason you decide you don't want them. I also like them because they're a great way to accentuate cheek structure because they usually cut right at the cheek or start right at the cheekbone. It draws a nice emphasis to your cheekbones. Now, some things to think about: who are they for, maybe who are they not for? If you're somebody that's got a little bit of a longer face and you're trying to add a little bit more width, these are also an option, mainly because you're going to be parting it down the center, and many times parting it down the center is going to help create more volume on the sides, which can help create more width in your face. To that flip side, if you're a person that's got a very round face and you're trying to maybe elongate it a bit, this may or may not work well for you, not necessarily because of where the bangs hit, but more importantly because of the fact that they do require that center part. And in your scenario, you might want to create a little bit more volume on the top so that you can help elongate your face, in which case the center part really makes that a hard thing to do. You also may want to keep in mind that if you're a person that's constantly bending over for maybe your work or for what you do as a hobby, and you don't like hair falling in your face, these, because of their length being at the cheekbone, are likely to fall directly in your eyes, and it may be hard for you to get them out of your face without bobby pins, or depending on your hairline and your bone structure, maybe being able to tuck those behind your ears, or just using a ton of hairspray to get them to stay back off your face. So that is something that you definitely at minimum want to think about as well. Now let's move on to my next favorite trend, but before we do that, can we talk about this for 5 seconds? I'm not saying it's a view, but it's a view. Okay, so my next trend that I love for summer is the shag. Now, one of the reasons I love the shag is because it's got definitely a very strong rock edge to it, but it's not so rocker that it really kind of pushes out a large part of the population that may want to try it. Now, another reason that I love it is for people with wavy, thick, or curly hair. Because it has so much layering on the sides, it does a really good job of alleviating bulk from the sides. You also want to think about the fact that if you've got a very full face and you go for a strong bang, you're trying to create some more length in your face shape to alleviate some of that fullness, then a stronger bang is going to accentuate the fullness. It's going to work completely against you, so that's also something that you want to pay attention to. Even with all of that said, I still love the overall shape, I love the movement, I love the texture, and I love that kind of rock star flair, like I said before, without having to be super rock star. Now, I also got to say that as beautiful as it is to be out here, I'll tell you, audio is rough. I've actually had to come back into the back of the forest here to get away from the stream so you don't hear a bunch of stuff in the background. But with that said, it's kind of the perfect segue into talking about today's sponsor, because I'm going to be using Skillshare later to learn all about how to try to cut the background noise out of the audio on this. But if you're unaware of what Skillshare is, this is what it is. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. It's like the best place to explore new skills, deepen existing passions, or just flat out get lost in creativity altogether. Now, one of my favorite things about it is the fact that it's actually curated for learning. That means that there's zero ads. So you can stay 100% focused and follow wherever your creativity is taking you. And they're always launching new premium classes. Like right now, I'm going through Ryan Booth's class, DIY Cinematography, Make Your Video Look Like a Movie. Because if you watch my videos, you know I try my hardest to not just sit in front of a ring light and do a video. I want to add that cinematic flair to separate myself from all the other beauty videos. I've already learned a ton about lighting and how to use natural light from this class, and I cannot wait to go through the rest of it. But the awesome thing is there's tons of other classes I really want to take that have nothing to do with videography. For instance, this one right here, Style Your Space, Creative Tips and Techniques for Interior Design by Emily Henderson. Or another one I'm excited for is Discovering Success, 7 Exercises to Uncover Your Purpose, Passion, and Path by Emma Gannon. Now, if you know me, you know I don't do any sponsorships of anything that I don't, 1, use, and don't, 2, absolutely love. I hadn't used Skillshare before. I hadn't even been on the platform. So I had to go through it a little bit to really decide whether or not I think it would be good for you. And I love it. At least the classes that I've gone through so far, they have very short videos. So for me, even in between a busy schedule, I have the opportunity to go through a video, learn something, and not feel overwhelmed by the amount of time or having to come back to a 40-minute video that I have to rewatch because I've forgotten what they were talking about. So to me, it's like the perfect on-the-go, learn something quick, and then be out. If you want to learn more about it, there is a link in the description. Check it out. The first 1,000 of my subscribers that click on that are actually going to get hooked up by Skillshare with a 1-month free trial to their premium membership. So yeah, you're definitely going to want to look at that. It's cool stuff. Get your creativity on. All right, and while we're talking about that, let's get back to the next trend. Okay, the next style or trend, I guess, that I love is the pixie cut. Now, the reason I love the pixie is this particular pixie nowadays really can be done any way. Part of the reason I love it is because there are so many options. The other thing I love about them is because I feel personally like going short like that really screams a certain amount of confidence. That's not to say that if you've got longer hair, you somehow lack confidence or look like you lack confidence, but I do feel like there's an air of free, if you will, that goes along with being able to go short hair. Not everybody feels comfortable enough to have or wear short hair. So I like it for that reason alone. I also love the fact that you really can mold this around face shapes. If you've got a little bit more of a full face or round face, you're going to want to create more volume on the top and have less bulk on the sides. On the other hand, if you've got a longer face, you can have a little bit more volume on the sides and help to create a little bit more of that width. So there's a lot of options with the way you work with your face shape when you're cutting shape into it on short hair. Oh my gosh, this log is killing my, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to work through this so that I can tell you about this next trend, which I love, and that is edgy color. Now, ombre has been around for a long time. It's been very popular, and I still love the look. But if we look at what makes ombre color popular, a large part of that is because it has a very natural element to it. It looks very kind of like sun-kissed, if you will. So with that said, I think that's what draws me to the idea of funky, edgy, crazy colors. That kind of natural look has been so popular for so long that kind of going the other direction and making it almost very unnatural, to me, is appealing. It's kind of like, all right, let's move in another direction. Now, I also think that there's an air of, at a certain point in our lives, we get to a place where we feel that we can't wear crazy colors. And I completely disagree. In fact, this is my mom. I'm not going to say her age because I don't want to get punched when I get to work tomorrow. But yes, that is not natural color. And I love it. And she rocks it. And she gets comments on it all the time. Hey, there is no age or specific time in our life where we need to step away for anything other than when we want to step away from anything. If you feel the necessity or the desire to rock blue hair, purple hair, or whatever color it may be, I think that you should do that. You should absolutely rock that hair and be confident in it. And you know what? It's going to look amazing on you because of that. And that, to me, is part of why I love this trend. I love the fact that it actually is a trend, and hopefully it will open up the door for people to really get on board and try something maybe you haven't tried. So those are my favorite trends right now. I'm curious to know what you think. Are you going to try any of them? Let me know below. And otherwise, it's starting to rain, so I'm going to head back towards the car. And yeah. You have a fantastic day. Go ahead and watch this video right here so you learn some cool stuff. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss every Tuesday when I bring out a brand new video. And we will see you next Tuesday. Have a great one. Take care now. Bye. Oh my gosh, sweat. Oh boy.